Hello, everybody. Welcome to In Conversation. And can you believe it is Monday the 6th already? Time is really flying in terms of April. For those that's locked at home, not knowing which day it is specifically. And, it's been a hectic weekend. A lot of people not knowing what to do and so forth. I actually find it quite interesting. I did some stuff around the house, which was quite cool. I'd love to know where you're joining from. So please comment in the box below. You know how it works. You need to tell us which city you're from. Is it Cape Town, Johannesburg, Durban, or town? Where specifically? And say hello to us. And also participate during the whole thing. So how In Conversation works is it's a conversation between myself and the speaker. And today we obviously have Jane Stevenson, which I'll introduce in a few seconds. So you're more than welcome to share and obviously create a watch party. I can see a lot of people joining. Marky is joining, Christopher is joining, Leanne Harper, Neil Barker, Lede, Minnie. All of you, thank you so much for joining Panata. So please comment, go to the Oracle Media Facebook page. Please make sure you're on the Oracle Media Facebook page and then comment on all the stuff so that we can see it. If you're joining from a watch party from somewhere else and you comment, then we won't be able to see it. So you'll have to make sure that you are live on the Oracle Media Facebook page and link to that live video and not a watch party. Otherwise, we won't be able to see your comments. So please say hello and tell us which city are you from and so forth. Jane, a very welcome to you.
Thank you, Neil. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure. I couldn't think of anybody better to talk about the mindset. For those who don't know, Jane is my coach, and in terms of business, my business coach, and I probably some of my personal life as well. Sometimes I throw those curveballs at her. And Jane's been helping me in terms of my business because sometimes you can't give yourself advice and you need advice from someone else. And that's where that comes in specifically. A lot of times it's so easy to give other people advice, tell them to change their mindset, do this in your business, and so forth. But you can't always do it for yourself. And that's what when I got the opportunity to start working with Jane, it was just so exciting in terms of that. So thank you so much for coming on board, Jane, to speak to our viewers today.
Pleasure, Neil. Gosh, the tables are turned in this conversation.
Yeah, and we're going to throw a few questions as well at you as well today, Jane. I must say I'm a little bit nervous today. I'm not sure why.
No pressure. No pressure, guys. Wow.
So a few people joining here. Carmen Moodley saying hello, everyone. Hello, Jane. I'm looking forward to the session. Gail Brown saying hello. Excited for your talk. Christelle Janssen from Rensburg. Hey, Jane. Lovely to see you. Carla Dre also saying, hey, Neil and Jane, so excited for this topic. Michael Zoetmulder saying hello. So quite a few people saying hello and joining us from all over. You please comment. Mimi Rup also joining us. And, I was actually, Jane and I are both friends with Mimi. She's actually won quite a few awards, and I think most influential businesswomen in Africa at some point.
Yeah.
So she's joining us. Thanks for that, Mimi. And in Belinda, hey, Jane and Neil, really excited for you and Marcel. So please keep on commenting and ask your questions as we go through this morning. It's really important.
Be gentle here.
Pardon?
I said they must be gentle with the questions, though, huh? No, I'm kidding.
So, Jane, one of the first questions specifically, as a business coach, you often talk about your mindset. What do you mean by mindset specifically? What is it? Is it being happy? Is it being sad? What does it entail?
Do you know what? For me, life is all about mindset because we all have a past. We were all born very similar, and some of us had luck along the way, fair enough. But mindset is really about the choice that the perception that you choose. Take, for example, this COVID experience. The whole world is going through it together, right? And I don't think anyone is getting off with not being affected in some way. But it's your mindset to choose whether this is a process of opportunity, despite the difficulty, or whether it's just chaos and crisis. And it's just how you choose things, how you choose to see your life. And mindset is a choice you make consciously every day when you wake up, every moment when you face a crisis, every moment when you face the decision. It's about the choice you have within your own mind to set that reality.
Because it's stressful. I must say, as an entrepreneur and business owner myself, the last 3 weeks, I've actually been, you go from being highly stressed out to being excited and motivating yourself. And it's like such a whirlwind. You don't know where you are specifically, and I think that's why it's nice to get that coaching from you specifically, because it also aligns yourself to where you need to be in terms of your mind and your business.
Sure. And I also think that, this period that we're going through is unprecedented. I mean, that word is being bandied around by presidents around the world, but it truly is a remarkable, positively and negatively, experience that I hope to never go through again, I must be honest. But it does create a bit of an emotional roller coaster for us all. There's no doubt about it. There's nothing normal in this space, and we like predictability. We like control as humans. We like to know and plan, and there's just nothing. All of that's been taken away from us, and it leaves us very vulnerable.
It is. You're out of your comfort space where I actually said to quite a few people over the weekend, I miss waking up at 4:30 in the morning, going swimming and going to work. I miss that schedule. Even though I'm not complaining about being able to work from home, you miss that specifically in terms of how you do your daily thing. One of the things that I've really loved that you've come up with in the past few weeks is your C word videos specifically, and I love watching them and seeing how you connected. Obviously, the C word is connected to the coronavirus. So tell us a little bit more about that insight and thought there, Jane.
Thanks, Neil. You know what happened was I was watching news channels, Facebook, like everybody else was, and all I saw was corona, corona, corona. And I got to the point of just saying, Yana, this C word is driving me insane. And it was in that moment that I thought, well, why not actually create a different C word? And it's a C word around the emotions that we're going through and around how I'm feeling in the moment. And if that can be, as a coach, the one thing you have to be is authentic and just reach out to people in the same way that they're feeling it or expressing it. And it was just a moment of thinking, and it started gaining momentum. And now I'm like under pressure to create C words. I actually got a phone call the other day from somebody I haven't spoken to in years saying, I have loved your C word. Thank you for the inspiration. Can you please keep posting, because I look forward to them every day. And I'm going, hang on, that wasn't the plan to do a daily one. But it's been lovely to see the momentum and to see that it's been connecting with people, because it is raw emotion and it is about how we're feeling and some tips along the way as well.
If you run out of words, you can always go to Lorenza Sea and start putting that in the water.
Surprised how many C words there are. And I also use a little bit of poetic justice where I use the word kindness and we just replace the K with the C as well. You're allowed to do that when you create your own videos, you're allowed to do anything.
I'm sure everybody can send you in some recommendations of a few C words. You can make videos around that. I see a few more people joining in here. And I'm going to connect to that now because I asked you that for a reason. Christelle Janssen from Rensburg saying, Mimi is my hero, beautiful person, an excellent businesswoman. Kevin Taylor, hey Jane, you recommend a great and insightful book. The only thing, would you apply the one thing methodology in these uncertain times?
Yeah, Kevin, thanks for the question. The One Thing is an amazing book if you haven't read it, and it really talks about how to focus, if you see a row of dominoes, which one do you hit so that the others fall into place? And the question Kevin's asking is, would you apply that thinking in this space? And I absolutely would, but I would do it in scenarios. So I would, and what has helped me through this time is to kind of think about how could this play out? Because there is no rule book, there's nothing, there's no manual on what tomorrow looks like, right? Is to almost like create different scenarios. If this, then that. And in those scenarios, I do then look at the one thing and say, if this happens, for example, if my business had to close, then that. What does that look like? And then what would be the one thing that I would focus on that would take it forward? Or what would be the one thing that I'd focus on to create a new business, etc. So I would definitely bring the one thing into it, most definitely. But in scenarios, not in isolation. The book talks about it in isolation for like normal times. I would probably say in this one, scenarios would work.
Cool. Thanks so much, Jane. a few more people saying, Angelica Adcock saying, I'm here, hello. Sarah Will saying, hello guys, really nice to see you. David Livington saying, how's it guys? Lisa Carver saying hello. Marcel Detoy saying, C for calm. During these times, as the news or Facebook stresses a person out.
I agree with Marcel completely. And calm is one of my C words, in fact. So thanks for that. But, I found that you can get into overdrive about trying to figure out what the stats are, what the figures are, how many deaths, which country is leading the way, what's which president saying where, and it almost becomes this minefield of information overload at a different level altogether. Because with that, with all this information comes fear. So remember that the media is hyping up a lot of fear and a lot of statistics, etc. On the same side, though, you've got these people that are saying it's a conspiracy theory. This is about the Chinese and the USA, or this is about the latest is that it's actually Bill Gates wanting to get his vaccinations out, etc. And it's whatever it may be, all of that creates chaos and fear. So to find the calm, as Marcel's just mentioned, is to actually distance yourself a little bit. And what my hubby and I have decided to do is to tag in once a day into the news feed and figure out what's going on and then leave it be. Because otherwise it's just too much.
And then obviously Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 3 o'clock, you watch In Conversation.
Obviously, right? Obviously.
I'm actually connecting to what we spoke about now about the C word to Sahel. You absolutely have the C word and videos. So one day last week, I was actually having a downer day where, I want to do work, but I can't get to my work because I'm feeling down and I need to motivate everybody in the company around me and need to be happy, but I wasn't getting there. And I couldn't really understand what was happening specifically around that, because why do I feel like this? And then I spoke to Sahel about it, and he said to me, have you watched Jane's video? And I said, and I said to him, which one? And he said, no, the latest. And I went and watched it. And in that video, Jane, you are so open about your feelings. And it almost, my first thing was, is she not worried what people will think specifically about it? And will they criticize her about it? And I watched the video and I thought, wow. And I actually used that as an example. And I had a Zoom meeting with my management team later today, and I explained to them what I was going through specifically. Because if you could be strong enough to put this on a public platform, then why can I not share it with my management specifically? And take us through that video specifically.
Well, the thing with being a coach is being human, also being authentic. And for me, authenticity is key. And anyone that knows me knows that I live that. And what happened that day was I woke up and, like you, I just didn't want to get out of bed, and probably shouldn't have got out of bed, actually. And it's like I often say to sales teams, if you're having a bad day, don't pick up the phone because people will hear it. And that was the same thing, is don't force yourself to be happy if you're not feeling happy. You're in a space of isolation with people that you know and love and trust. It's probably the best time, if ever, that you wanted to just feel, right? So I actually shared with my family that I'm not feeling in a good space, etc. And luckily they give me space. And I needed time alone. I needed to work through how I was feeling. And you know what made me realize, Neil, is that we are granted freedom. We are granted choice. We are granted the ability to plan. We are granted all of that every day. And suddenly one day it's taken away. And I felt this overwhelming sense of loss. And I felt really sad about it. And I thought to myself, you know what? If I'm feeling like this and everyone else is cooking and baking and having this wonderful time outside, maybe there's others that feel like this too. And maybe we don't always have to show up in the happy space that we project on Facebook. Maybe we can actually show up just feeling the way we actually really feel. And that's what prompted me to do the video. So I agree with you. I mean, I put myself out there, and I know that people will judge, but people are going to judge me anyway. They judge me, they judge you, they judge everybody. And it's not really, what I put out there is never about them. It's about me. So, I always say Facebook and Instagram is a wonderful thing. If you don't like it, it's my page. You're most welcome to unfollow or unlike or unfriend or do whatever you like. Quite
Well,
fine.
I like that. I really do like that. And I thought it was really authentic, and it helped me specifically dealing with that actually day after you had it. And how many other people will it also help? You know, that also has these down days where you don't feel like doing anything. You look at your company, you look at everything around you, and you look. We're fortunate in terms of Oracle Media that now's the time to market, now's the time to do digital media. So we're getting more work in than ever before. But it's still it's stressful at the end of the day, and you need to manage your cash flow, and you look at all of that, but you don't know how to explain it to people. And I think that's what I liked about your video.
Thanks, Neil. And I think that, to your credit, what you've done is, for example, just take these videos, keeping your brand alive, but doing it in a meaningful way that actually gives a lot of value to people, is exactly what is required in this world at the moment. So if you look at, for example, from a business perspective, and you say to yourself, well, is my business still relevant? You can either go into this sort of frozen space and saying, well, I'm just going to live out these 3 weeks, and when lockdown goes, it'll all be normal. But here's another secret, right? There is no more normal. Normal is now genuinely a sitting on a tumble dryer. That is it. Normal has changed forever. And if you're going to sit and hope that when lockdown lifts, that normal returns, you're going to be in for a shock. And the whole thing about it is to really focus in this time as to whether you as a human being, what your relevance is and purpose, where your business is relevant and where its purpose is, and to be agile enough to twist and change that. The best businesses, the most successful businesses, know what problem there is in the world, and they offer a solution to it. Now, if your business, yours being whoever's listening, if your business was working well yesterday in pre-COVID days, well, the world has shifted and the problems are different. And Neil, to your point, what you've done is really adjusted. I know you've always been in online space, but never sort of in this space. And you've just ramped it up completely with authentic, real value offering to people. And that's what we've all got to be looking at, is how do you take what you're doing and do it either differently or do something completely differently? Because some businesses, I do believe, might not actually survive this. And maybe that's a lot of us have been in an indecisive space in many cases for years. Should I stay? Should I go? Should I be in this job? Shouldn't I? Should we change our business or shouldn't we? And then we become complacent. We become too busy. And for the first time ever, the world has granted everybody time. The very thing that we always say we don't have enough of. I always say to my kids, careful what you ask for because you might just get it. And I think we always are asking for more time and we've just got it. So it's like, what are you going to step up and do in this space and this time to reinvent, recreate, refocus, reboot? Or are you just going to sit and fester in this and create a pity party, which is what I did the other day. And I think the point of my video there was as well is to be kind to yourself. Having a pity party is okay for a short space of time because I do believe you need to feel emotions. You can't fix emotions. You've got to feel them. And that's what I did. And that's what I shared.
No, look, I completely agree with you. You have to be proactive and reactive at the end. And 2 weeks ago, when I sat and I looked at, we can't do the normal anymore. And I thought about these in the conversation specifically. My first thing that popped in was, now I'm going to be live. Will there be people that's going to criticize it? Will there be people that's going to hate it? Because there will always be people that love it, and there will always be people that hate it. You just need to make peace of it. And that's how I looked at it. I thought, let's just go for it. Some people may need what all of these speakers are going to share. And let's in the next 30 days, for how long it's a lockdown, let's continue this conversation every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 o'clock, and have those different speakers in specifically.
Yeah, and what you've done so nicely as well, Neil, is you've created such an eclectic mix of speakers that they're all talking about different things, which is really cool.
Yeah, I'm also excited for Wednesday in my sad list. She's going to be talking about fake news. So
Absolutely.
much of it. I see a few more people saying, Angelique saying, I must say, this is going to be change the way we all do business. As business owners, I actually cried in my office the other day, as my employees just did not understand what I was going through. Tanya Kuhn saying, I love that Jane gives validation to what she might feel. Also really nice in terms of what Sarah was saying. Love your calming voice, Jane. Always great advice, specifically in terms of it. And I must, I see that a lot of owners are saying, specifically, my employees do not understand what I'm going through. And Jan, after obviously we discussed it, I sat down and had a conversation with all the staff and explained to them what was going to change and so forth. What would you recommend for other business owners that's still struggling, to get that mindset across to employees? What's happening, because it's both parties need to work together.
They do, and we will always talk from different perspectives, and that's the important thing as a business owner or a leader in a business to remember, is that we're seeing it from a perspective as we actually don't know how to keep this business afloat, and maybe I'm going to have to force leave, maybe I'm going to have to cut salaries, maybe I'm going to have to cut staff. But staff will always see it from, but how am I going to pay my bills? And see it from their own perspective. And there is a very, very difficult alignment structure, because these are not good conversations to have. It's not because they've done anything wrong necessarily. It's not because you've run the business badly. It's simply, this is an unprecedented time, and it calls for some really, really drastic measures. And some people will have to let go of a lot of their team in order to stay afloat. In other words, to protect the rest of the team, including their own families. There's no happy space to do that in. But I think that the most important thing is to be honest. Be honest and be clear in what they need to know, but don't share all your warts and all with staff. They don't see it from the same way. Just give them what they need to know, get them an understanding of why. The most important thing is not what you're doing, but why you're doing it. If they understand your heart, they may not like your decision, but at least they can understand your decision-making process and understand why you're doing that, and that it's not targeting somebody or trying to be nasty to somebody, etc. Because that's the difficult thing we're all facing, is how do we navigate this landscape, keep buoyant, keep motivated, and yet still restructure business if necessary to even keep alive. But I think honesty is the key thing there.
Also, another comment here from Watiswa. It's not business as usual. Change has never been more imminent. In the way we think, we do things, leaders together with staff, employees, need to have an open, honest line of communication now more than ever. I completely agree with that.
I agree with that as well. And it's quite interesting that the other thing you can do is say to your staff, right, it's not business as usual, right? It's very much business unusual. And a lot of businesses have, in the manufacturing space particularly, have suddenly started manufacturing face masks or sanitizers or whatever it may be, is to say to your team, what's a problem in the world that our business can solve right now, and how are we going to do it? Because you'll be amazed when you ask the question. Don't think that you know all the answers as the leader of the business, because sometimes you can't, because of all the complexities of running the business and cash flow, etc. You can't see the wood from the trees. And sometimes somebody sitting quietly at home at the moment has got an amazing idea. Reach out to your staff, connect with them regularly, figure out any ideas that they may have, and maybe you're going to make a fortune selling hand sanitizer. I mean, somebody in the world has, and who would have ever thought that 4 months ago?
No, precisely. You need to innovate now, And if we look at these webinars, and I'm not talking about these free webinars that we're doing here, I've been almost fully booked with webinars where I'm discussing digital media, and we're discussing all of those aspects on how to do marketing, how to adapt your business, and so forth. And that's initiatives that I've taken in terms of also to get more income into the company throughout this, because you never know, things can be really good now, but you don't know how it's next month or the month after. So I always plan for the worst, but it's about that planning to make sure that you do get through things at the end of the day. Another question here, Jane, how can we deal with the fear? Sorry, Jane?
Fear. Fear's a huge emotion, right? And it's the one that for some reason we align to the most, and that's a scary part. Brandon Bay says, don't fix it, feel it. And if ever there was a time and a place that you could have a safe environment surrounded by people that you love, or by animals that bring about joy, or just by nature in your garden, or on your couch, or wherever you feel safe, feel that fear and do it anyway. Because honestly, I think there's a way of looking at this whole thing, right? And in the coaching practice, there's so many leaders that are battling with their own purpose. They define the purpose by the job. And here in this space, we're all being rattled with that. And my passion is about finding purpose as a human being, and then how does your job actually affect that purpose? And the fear comes from not understanding where your purpose lies, not understanding what your self-worth is, without the job being the main focus. And if there's any way that I can say that can help you to deal with fear, it's actually to sit with it, to not sit and sort of really go into this pity party, but to feel it and to say, well, okay, rationally, if that's what I'm feeling and that's what I'm fearing, is it real? Or is it something that I'm just worried that may happen? And if that had to happen, then what? And then go into your scenario planning again. So don't just pretend the fears don't exist. Just sit with them and allow them to come through. And in that moment, with all that chaos and that emotion, you might find that as stillness comes, clarity actually really does pop through. That's why so many people say, you know what, I had such a great idea in the shower. It's those moments of stillness where you don't have the pressure of doing stuff that greatness actually happens. And make no mistake, in the last amazing times like this that have happened in the world, there have been the most profound discoveries or inventions or whatever it may be that have come through. I can't think of any right now, but I've got a load of them that I've listed, and I'll share them with you, Neil, and you can share them with your guys as well. But this is where innovation truly comes to the fore. When you can get through all that fear, you can park panic and say, panic does exist, fear does exist, it's not unreal, but there is also on the other side opportunity and innovation, and they're not mutually exclusive. So how can I work with this and then turn around and work with this as well?
No, I agree, and I love that you're sharing. I'm also going to share what I specifically do in the shower in the morning. For those who like to know,
this is a PG show, isn't it?
no video conversation here specifically. I'm not going to show you what I do, but I'm going to tell you what I do in the shower. And what I do is, when I get to the shower in the morning, I actually put my phone on someone that I would listen for motivation, be it Lisa Nicholson or whoever. And they're all recording stuff at the moment, which they're all putting massive amounts of content out. And what I do is I start playing it and I put it at the top of the shower. And while I'm showering, remember we don't have water restrictions in Johannesburg. So it can be a 10-minute shower if I want to. But I listen to that. And while I'm listening to it, I actually also think about what I say, because nothing's distracting me. I'm not looking at anything. I'm not even looking at my phone. I'm listening to what they're saying, and I take those few minutes and I look at how can I apply during my day. And that motivates a person so much and helps you so much in terms of overcoming that fear, not thinking about, what's happening in the world now, because, you and it's not just in terms of business where there's fear, even in terms of food. Yesterday myself, I never, look at buying food so there's enough for another week or so. And yesterday I went to the shops because I was fearful that will there be food in a week's time or will there not be food? Because someone said to me they went to a shop and it was there was almost nothing on the shelves. So then I went to the shops as well, and then when I got there, obviously I saw there was food on the shelves, and I felt a bit stupid. But that fear, it also comes from so many different angles, and it's how we cope with it and what we do. And now I know when I hear that there's no food on the shelves, don't stress about it. We will be looked after.
And you're right, Neil. And the thing is, it's what you feed your mind, right? And this whole talk is on mindset, and it's exactly that. Are you laughing at Marcel's comment?
Yes.
He's quite right too. But the whole thing that, as I said earlier, is that media and all these things on Facebook and these posts and everything just come up with the stuff that creates this epidemic. The pandemic is fear. more than
Yeah.
it is around COVID. And this is the time to, as I say, step back, tap in now and again, but step back from it and use the time wisely. You know, there's a lot of things that are online to share with how to get up and show up every day, etc. And I love what you're saying is around you get up and in the shower, the first thing you do is put that positive speak into your space. And that is about mindset. That is about choosing to do that rather than to get onto Facebook and to go into the negative space, you know. And I see that Caroline saying, use this time to organize, tidy, and sort. And 100%, use this time to reflect. Use this time to be in a space where busy doesn't take control. And I was thinking about the other day, I was actually busy with a coaching session with a leader in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And he was saying to me that he actually almost feels more burnt out with lockdown. And it got me thinking about this whole emotional burnout. Because in lockdown, he's still running his business, as are you and I. And on top of that, we're trying to now get busy doing all the stuff that everyone else is doing, which we still only got 24 hours in a day.
Yes.
So how we think we're going to be able to run a full business and do a 3-hour exercise regime and do cooking classes and online webinars and clean house and it's just a stretch too far, right? So it's about being kind and saying, each day I'm going to have quality time on my own. Each day I'm going to have quality time with my family. Each day I'm going to do some of the chores because that's a necessary evil. And my family and I actually sat with a big flip chart and we worked out all the kinds of projects we wanted to do together, things that we wanted to do on our own, and we give each other the space. And we've actually bought into it as a collective, which just helps with the guilt as well. Then I don't feel guilty.
No, that's the type of mindset you need to have ultimately, and it also helps organizing your life. I think the dogs are probably the most excited about us being home.
I tell you what, we posted a photograph where Harley had in her clutches. Harley's my Great Dane, for those that don't know, and she's a rescue dog, so absolutely no boundaries at all, and literally had got me around the neck and was hugging onto me, and I managed to grab my photo and take a selfie, and we posted it and just said to others, you know, the furry animals, these colleagues that you have nowadays, share some photos. It's such fun to see how people are actually just enjoying space at home. My tortoises are loving it too, by the way. Every time they see me, they think food's coming and they charge after me. And I do say charge. Tortoises, despite thinking they're slow, are actually quite quick.
No, they're loving that. And in sales asking you as well, Jane, how does one motivate yourself in order to motivate others, such as staff and family during this time?
I think that authenticity again, it's about, you know, what Neil was saying is put positive stuff into your mind. Go and find stuff that inspires you. Go and think about doing things differently. Sit down with your family and say, you know what, guys, this is a struggle time. There's no doubt about it. But what could it look like? And what do we need to take care of? Do you know what we did the other day is we were talking about like just curbing finances. And I think it's a question or something that everybody should be doing at this time because financial is one of the biggest fears and stresses. Yep. Little things like our insurance, saying to our, you know, chatting to our insurance, what do you call him? Our insurance broker, and asking about, for example, our cars. We're not using our cars at the moment. Can we save some money? And you absolutely can. Is there a bank holiday on some of our policies, our life policies? Is there different things that we could do that would just take a little bit of pressure off on the here and now? And then looking at the big stuff as well and making some wise decisions together. And then talking about like, well, you know, when you dream about what your purpose is as an individual, look at it as a collective, as a family as well, and say, what is it that we want to achieve? You know, often husbands and wives are so busy, your partner and you are so busy being busy and running businesses that we don't sit and talk about where we want to go in life, what we want to do in life, etc., etc. Yeah. This is a time to connect back to that as well.
Well, precisely. I think that's a positive way of looking at it, and also a nice way to embrace what each person is going through. Another question here for you, Jane. As a coach and keynote speaker, you are passionate about helping others find their purpose as an individual, and it also how does it translate into leading a company? Why is it so important, especially in these times specifically?
I'm really passionate about people understanding the purpose. There was a book written called Half Time, which talks about how people's self-worth is absolutely crippled and people go into a depression or what they call midlife crisis when they lose their job, when they either retire or whatever it may be. And if you've ever been retrenched, you'll probably align with this. If you've got a purpose as a human being and you understand that, you realize that work is only one element of of manifesting that purpose. But when the job is all that you have as a purpose, then things like what is happening right now, or losing a job, or retiring one day, or being retrenched, or finding yourself without work is actually the most probably critical stage of tapping in and destroying self-worth. So purpose for me is, as a leader, how are you defining purpose for yourself? How are you navigating that in your business? It's the whole Simon Sinek. If you know what your why is, if you can wake up every morning understanding why you're getting up, what your purpose is for being on this earth, you'll realize that I'm on the board of the chamber, I'm on exporters, etc. It's all about how can I deliver my own purpose, my own why through those different elements. It's not because I've got more time than anyone else. It's because I understand what my purpose is and I want to impact that in 101 different ways.
No, well, that's the thing, and the purpose also comes in with making sure that you've got a list of all of the stuff that you can do during the day. I'm actually going to bring it up. I've got this little booklets of us, and then what I do is I write what I'm going to do during the day in there, and I mark it off because it's so easy when you're at home not follow what you're going to do during the day and so forth, and you get completely lost with other stuff. And that's my way of also making sure that I'm getting to the stuff that I wanted to get to as well, and not wasting time around other things. And also just reminding myself, those are the steps that I need to take during the day to get to the end goal. And what is that end goal at the end of the day too?
Yeah.
I see Christelle saying.
So can I just tap in on one thing there, Neil? What you're talking about right now is almost setting mini goals and creating a sense of achievement for yourself, which is really important. So in that C word video that you mentioned, I'd said there that I was just choosing 3 things that I needed to finish every day. And if I could tackle those 3 things, I felt a sense of achievement. If I did more, that's great. If I did less, that's fine. But I'm not creating these lists like I used to of a myriad of things. But purpose is way beyond that. Purpose is something that your list needs to feed into purpose. So, for example, my personal purpose is about nurturing belief. I do that when I'm coaching. I do that with organizations when I'm running strat sessions. I do that with teams when we're having talent dynamics workshops, etc. I do that at exporters when I'm running or facilitating a workshop with them. I do it with the chamber. Right now, I'm on the COVID Joint Operating Committee because I like to be involved in nurturing belief in humanity, in organizations, in brands, in teams. So all of those different things are beyond my job. They're actually my reason for living.
Yes.
And my job happens to fill in one of those spaces, but it doesn't always just have to be around task focused and work related. So really explore purpose beyond that. And if anyone wants to have a conversation with me around that, it's my happy space. Love to have a conversation with you offline.
I would definitely recommend it. What you're seeing between myself and Jane now is very similar to how Jane would also coach me. Obviously, there I'm a lot more open, and we talk about whatever I want to talk about, and then she'll guide me, she'll give me some insight and an opinion, and those are the nice things. And then even I love the notes afterwards because I'm horrible at taking notes. Jane will know. We sat at a conference together last year for a whole day, and we were listening to the same speaker. And after the whole day, I think I had a one-pager, and Jane was like halfway through a book. So,
when you get to my age, you'll also realize that memory takes a bit of a toll with ages.
No, man. Christelle saying, if you come out of this time without a new skill, you're a side hustle. Start or more knowledge. We never lack time. We lack discipline specifically. So I definitely think it's a time for you to embrace and get into new things. How do you know?
I must just say though that I've signed up probably for every webinar. I've signed up for courses, and I haven't done one of them. And I'm not actually feeling guilty about it. I'm okay with it. And what I've realized is week one for me was about just decluttering, and not decluttering in my house, decluttering in my mind, decluttering and coming to realization of what it is. Week two is going to be picking up on those things, because I've realized that this week I just didn't have the mental capacity amidst sort of two businesses, etc., to even warrant new stuff. I actually needed to let go of some of the old, and decluttering is about throwing out first. So I'm throwing out a lot of the stuff that I'm working through in my own head right now, that has no need or no relevance right now, to make space for new. So be careful that you don't just add more stuff on.
You declutter first.
Yeah.
Sue's also saying here, good ideas, quality time to reassess our lives specifically. And I think, those are the nice things. And I have another question here for you, Jane. How do you know if your business is still relevant after COVID-19? I think a lot of people is worried about it. Will it still be relevant?
Well, I guess a good question to ask yourself is, how relevant was it before COVID-19? So Kodak thought they were really relevant when everybody else was questioning things, right? And they still believed that everybody would want a big camera. What they didn't look at was the fact that more people today have cameras than ever before, but we've just got them in the palm of our hands, our phone, right? So I guess that complacency comes in a lot of times. Well, we get so big that we just keep on doing the same old thing without actually questioning it. So I would start with, was your business relevant before COVID, or was it existing? And the second thing is, what is the problem in the world that you are actually offering a solution for? And is that still relevant in COVID times and then post-COVID? Which you're going to have to be agile and think about that in the moment, because who knows what that world will look like. But I do think it's going to open up and breed a whole lot of innovation and new opportunity for those that have an open mindset to be able to realize that change is going to happen. If you're going to fight it, it's going to be a battle. If you're going to explore it, it might just be the very thing that you needed to shift forward anyway.
Definitely, I agree with that. Now's the time to innovate yourself, and also to stay with times. And that's why I also like what Mimi's saying on Carte Blanche last night, and I should also watch it. They were speaking about side hustle. It was fascinating. And, I think a lot of people are hustling now. If I look at myself, I'm hustling as well, because I'm making sure I'm selling extra webinars, even though the company doesn't need it, because we have more digital media clients now than ever before, because it's the space to be in, and it's the way to target your clients. But I'm also making sure, like I said, I'm planning for the worst. And
yeah.
My whole thing, and Jane, maybe help me with this. You read comments on Facebook where people are saying, now's not the time to side hustle, be respectful of the times that we're in. How can you be selling like this, and so forth? And I was looking at that yesterday and thinking, am I maybe not hustling in the right time? Because now I'm selling more webinars and everything, and I'm loving the webinars because I'm adding value to people in terms of the digital space and marketing and changing the way they market their business during lockdown. But is it the incorrect time to now hustle if you read comments like that on Facebook?
I think that there's a lot of people taking advantage and opportunists that work in this space. And I think that probably is where the negativity is coming from. Anybody that is trying to give value and offer a service that people need, I wouldn't even call that a hustle. I'd call that changing and adapting. And I think there are a lot of people, though, that are on the bandwagon. Suddenly everybody has loads of masks and they're selling it at exorbitant prices. The retailers did that straight away when they saw there was demand. So they pushed up pricing. And I don't agree with that. And I think that needs to be managed very, very well, because that's just going to create absolute pandemonium. But in terms of being able to sell at this time and space, if you can offer value at a good rate, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I do think that it's the how you do it, though, and being sensitive to the fact that while you can, Others are actually fighting for survival. And there will come a whole load of different emotional responses to that from various different people.
Yeah, so you need to be open to criticism as well, because you're going to get both at the end of the day. A nice question here from John Buerta. Well done, Jane and Neil. We are in the same boat. Everybody has the same opportunity. A question from him: what will you tell your son and daughter in matric? What direction should they study, taking in consideration what is happening currently?
Well, Jean, what I'd like to do is share with you my experience of my daughter who matriculated last year and who came to me, and this was pre-COVID, so bear that in mind, but I think it's more relevant for today. And she had a conversation with Gary and I about where she's going in life, and she doesn't have a very clear direction on what job she is looking for at this stage. In fact, she's almost quite repulsed by going to work and having a job. She wants to travel the world, and she wants to live in the digital space. And when I say that, I'm talking about earn an income while being able to travel and allow her the freedom. Her big key thing is travel and freedom. And so what we did was we looked at various different online programs. We sent her to different, open days at varsities and everything, and came back with the same thing. If we pushed her, she would have gone to university, and we've ended up saying to her, don't worry, you can take some time off. And the idea would be that she would actually go and travel. And obviously COVID has now spoiled that. But in the meantime, what she did was she went online and found an e-commerce opportunity and started researching and came back to us and said, I'd like to do this program. It's going to allow me to set up an online business and to be able to take any product online and become and I'm trying to think of the word and it will come to me just now, but basically be the third-party distributor. And I can travel. And I looked at Gary and I said, you know what, this is a space that we are not that familiar in. And what I realized, it is the future of business. This whole online space is the future. It's not even the future, it's current, right? It's the reality of now. So Jean, to that point, I would let them emerge into who they really want to be, because let me tell you that the jobs that they will find themselves in 10 years' time probably don't even exist today. And they certainly are not going to exist through a conversation with a lecturer who's 50 years old, going from a textbook that is probably 300 years old. But that's just my opinion, and I'm probably going to get lambasted for that.
Well, I also think it's, do what you like and love, and go take the chance. If I look at 8 years ago when I started the social media agency, which is evolved into a brand agency now, a lot of people said, are you crazy? Who's going to pay you to do marketing on social media? It will never go there. People go onto Facebook to post their photos and have fun. They don't go there to advertise and or buy business. And look how it's changed now. It's completely changed the way we do. And from my side, I would look at do what you love and still go for it. Ultimately, John saying thanks so much, Jane.
And Caroline was right. It is a drop shipment. That's exactly what it is. So it's basically being that middle guy between. She's negotiating. Jean, she's 8 and she talks to Alibaba from her bedroom on a laptop about. And she's already designed her website and everything. It happened with COVID time, so she can't get shipment in. Now that China's lifted, it probably will be okay. But so I just think allow them to explore being who they want to be rather than who we think they should be. It's the most difficult thing, though.
Definitely, and if they go into what they love, then they'll see the opportunity and they'll grow within it. Also quite exciting this Wednesday, before we continue on, we've got Emma Sadler, which will be joining us, talking what is fake in terms of social media specifically, right here on our Oracle Media Facebook page. And it's also at 3 o'clock with Emma Sadler this coming Wednesday. And you please need to register on the event for it so if you know how many people will be attending. And that's a hot topic at the moment as well, with a lot of people saying, how do I know what's fake and how do I know what's not? Then this Friday 10th, we've got Rogers that's going to be joining us, and Rogers is going to be doing crisis management in terms of the lockdown period. And, how do I deal with that specifically? So That's this Friday at 3 o'clock. And those are some of the speakers that we have on this week alone. A few more joining from next week, from Bev Hancock to Michael Jackson to Nonkita. Yes, there's quite a few speakers, Michael Zutwilder, all coming every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here at the Oracle Media page. Then just a last one here for you, Jane. Top tips for navigating through this time.
I think my top tips for myself that's helped me is create those scenarios, think about the different scenarios and how they could play out, and try and think ahead. It'll get you into some innovative space, if nothing else. And if it doesn't, if you get blocked, you're welcome to WhatsApp me and quick conversation. I promise you will unblock. The other thing is be kind to yourself and take time to be on your own right now and to really investigate how you want to play out the reality. The other, one of the other things is get up every day. Get up every day, get dressed, show up like you would if you were going to a team. Make yourself relevant by being relevant for yourself, if that makes sense. And find a way to simplify in this time. We're doing sort of different projects, and I've realized how much waste we have just in our home, things that we don't need and don't use. It's ridiculous. And it makes you really question, what the heck, what were we doing? So, yeah, I think just one of the big things is connection. We're not meant to be isolated as human beings. Even those that say they don't like people like connection. So use technology to your advantage. Connect with your friends. We do a Zoom call every week with a group of friends. Mimi is part of it. And we get together, and that hour together is just absolutely sacred. It's wonderful because you can touch in and feel emotions of people that you know are on your side. So wherever your family and friends are, connect with them. Wherever your clients are, connect with them. Send a WhatsApp, reach out to people. You'll be amazed how good it makes you feel knowing that one word of inspiration can help somebody, or that their word helps you. It's so important to keep that connection up. And I think just if I can end with two things that I just want to say, is that there's a beautiful saying, and it says that everything you need is within you. Everything you need is within you. That is such a profound statement. And if you just sit with that, it's I promise you, it's gold. You can take it and throw it out the window if you want to, but that statement is absolutely gold. And the other one is one that my business coach often tells me, and that is, in nature, nothing is rushed and everything is accomplished. And I think this is our time to just, reflect and rush nothing and accomplish a lot.
That's so true, especially looking within, during the hardest time, we find out how brave we actually are, and we work and get through things a lot quicker and easier ultimately. But we also need support from everybody else, and that's why these sessions are also here. Jane, anybody that wants to get hold of you that may not have your Facebook, how can they get hold of you, especially with the coaching side? And guys, if I can recommend it, I get the coaching done from the Oracle Media side. And it's also helped in terms of how I think about things and how I take stuff to the next level. So Jane, how would they get in contact with you?
Thanks, Neil. It would be an honor to work with people. It's north@magneticminds.co.za, or they can contact me directly on WhatsApp, 083 449 3100. So just reach out, and very happy to work with you through this period and try and find new ways of navigating a new future.
Awesome. Just before we log off, can I ask everybody please to share this video and please like or love it specifically, so that it can get more traction, because somewhere out there is someone that actually needs to hear the message that Jane has passed on today in terms of it. So please share it and love and comment on it. And then we'll see you on Wednesday, specifically with Emma Sadler talking all fake news here on the Oracle Media Facebook page, and Friday with Brightness talking crisis management during a social media time. If you'd like to get a hold of Jane, you can more than welcome to inbox the Oracle Media page, and we'll provide the contact details to you as well. Jane, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. It was a nice session. Not as stressed as I was at the beginning. I thought, this morning I woke up and I thought, today I need to interview her. It's a bit of a stressful one.
Listen, here's a quote. I know Jean loves his quotes as well, and I want to share one last quote with you. And it says, And I think you might have the picture there. It's suspend your beliefs in the limits of today so that you can see and create the possibilities of tomorrow. I saw that on Facebook the other day, and I just thought, wow, that is just amazing. Suspend the limiting beliefs.
Oh. Thank you so much, Jane. I really appreciate it.
Thanks,
and
you and your team on these sessions. It's really brilliant.
for those who'd like to join Jane, we are back on the Exporters Facebook page tomorrow. So please go and like the Exporters Eastern Cape Facebook page. Jane and I will be talking a similar topic to today, mindset, but also looking at how you're changing your business and how you're adapting specifically in terms of it. So the event is on the Exporters Facebook page. We're going to be live there. We won't be live tomorrow on the Oracle Media page. So please go to the Exporters Eastern Cape Facebook page and see the event there. Jane and I are actually live there tomorrow. Once again, different topic. It won't be the same as today. So we'll see you tomorrow on the Exporters page. Thanks so much, Jane. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.